Welcome to Unlocked. I'm Miranda Sanchez, filling in for Ryan McCaffrey while he's out on an assignment for this episode 364. We've got plenty to talk about today, and we're going to kick things off with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which may be the best Assassin's Creed ever, according to our reviewer. And then more on Red Dead Redemption 2, because we cannot stop talking about that game. And then we're going to round things out with Microsoft's new fan event, kind of a revival, actually, XO18. But first, we got to tell you something that you may already know. Unlocked has moved. You'll be able to watch us every Tuesday at 3 p.m. at unlocked.ign.com, full 24 hours before you can catch us anywhere else. So let's get on with the show. We've got a lot to talk about.
Let's do it.
Hello, Justin Legary.
Hi,
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Yeah.
Brandon Tyrell.
Hello.
And joining us as a guest, John Ryan. Welcome back.
Howdy.
My favorite guest.
Yeah, it's like
It's good to be back.
Yeah, if we're talking about Red Dead, it's like you or Tina. We got a handful of great people. Yeah.
Bring in the Red Dead guy.
Yeah, it's like just cycle him in, bring in.
Let
like,
him out of the cage.
I like to think that you come in on like a little horse, like you just jump off the saddle.
Pony over here. You just can't see it.
Just get an intern with like 2 coconuts.
Yeah.
I would love that actually.
Oh, good reference.
There you go.
But before we get into that, we'll save our ponies for later. We're gonna go to this game has ponies too.
It does.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
It's got the most beautiful ponies.
Oh, whoa, it's a bold claim.
Phobos, your horse that you ride. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It is really good. Discuss.
Yep. It's really good.
You tell me. You're the reviewer.
I think you've definitely played more of it than I think anybody else here.
Yeah, you champion.
Bravo.
You.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very, I think I beat it in about a week, about 60 hours, but I reviewed it. I gave it a 9.2. I think it's so good. I think it's probably the best Assassin's Creed has ever been, with the caveat that I know a lot of people are looking at it as, well, this isn't an Assassin's Creed game anymore. And you're right. You're right. It's now an open world RPG. It's closer to The Witcher 3 than it is to Hitman, if that's,
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely come a long way and are a very different game than what you would like. If the peak of Assassin's Creed for you is Ezio,
AC2.
This is very much not the same game, right? But it still is Assassin's Creed because it's literally called Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it's.
I'm telling you, it is.
Yeah, they're telling you this is Assassin's Creed.
It's literally an Assassin's Creed game, but I do understand the people who they want that, staying hidden, blending into the crowd, tailing someone. I mean, I hope you don't want tailing missions.
I mean, I was when I think it was Origins didn't make me tail a single person.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is amazing.
So I was like 45 hours into Odyssey, and like there was a mission where you had to follow a guy, and I'm like, don't you do this to me.
Don't you
were
make that
doing
man turn
so
orange.
well. And then it turns out I could just like race ahead of him and meet him where I was supposed to be. So there are no tailing missions in Odyssey.
I mean, what's nice about Odyssey, though, and Origins, too, if that was the last one you played or if you hadn't checked it out yet, jumping from that style of Assassin's Creed to this, you can still totally play Odyssey like an old school Assassin's Creed game. The only mechanical difference that you're really lacking is the ability to like sit down on benches and like move. I don't think groups of people don't camouflage you anymore.
Yeah.
Which I get, like that was a really cool feature of the previous sort of generation of Assassin's Creed games. But I was always someone who was like, I was not very good at the stealth-only portions. Like, if you had a mission... I know, right?
No.
If you had a mission where you would have to, like, keep stealth for 100% sync, that was really hard for me.
Yeah.
And now I like that there's not a punishment to that, like, the gameplay loop used to be like, if you get spotted, you can probably still beat the mission, but you have to just kill everybody by hitting one button a million times.
The Arkham like animation counter.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't even that though. It was literally just like press square, press square, press square, press square, press square, press square, or press X. Sorry, I forgot to show that.
Triangle if you're countering. Yeah.
But now it's like combat is great, and each time you get a new encounter is this super fun, puzzly situation of like, okay, you've got these types of enemies against you. I really love it.
And that's the great thing about it too, is like the skill system which was introduced in Origins. I mean, the entire combat system, it's a new platform. It was the same platform that was introduced in Origins, but it's just been fleshed out this time. And the 3 separate skill trees are, Hunter for your archery, Warrior for your melee, and Assassin for your stab. stuff.
Perfect.
And
that's exactly how it appears in the tutorial menus too.
Yeah, stabby stab stab. And you can actually build completely into Assassin and play Odyssey like a older iteration of Assassin's Creed, where you approach a fort, you mark all your guys, you start sneaking around. You know, you can do that crazy like sort of Shadow of War teleport assassinations. So there's all kinds of assassination skills that actually make it viable in a game like this. Having said that, I really, really enjoyed just building into the warrior tree and then walking up to a fort, walking through the main gates and just like lighting my swords on fire and like, come and get it. Yeah. So the game is just, it's huge.
Oh God, there's so much.
It's dense and it's mostly quality. Sorry, I'm very tired. Still coming off that review.
Question for both of you guys: the big set piece location here is Greece. What sort of unique aspects does the Greece location bring?
I mean, I think with the introduction of like sort of the island hopping that you found in Black Flag, that is sort of like revitalized in this. You know, there's a lot of naval, there's a lot of naval combat, but like just sailing on your boat through the Aegean is beautiful. It's fantastic. I love it. And obviously, you know, you can do that anywhere, not just Greece. There's a lot of the mythology there, and obviously the Spartans versus the Athenians are you know, sort of the cornerstone of the game. But you know, the variety of locales that you find in this game are just stunning. The different biomes, foresty peaks, deserts, whitestone cliffs, you know, the Aegean, which you're watching right now if you are watching the video. There's just so many diverse areas. You can go into like a forest straight out of Robin Hood with just nothing but orange leaves everywhere. It's eternally autumn.
Yeah, and then the thing too is like every inch of the world that they've built is gorgeous.
Yeah, fantastic.
Like it's a phenomenal looking game. Like, I mean, and you can go from any point that you see. If you're watching the video right now, you can just see those mountains in the distance. You can go there. Yeah,
there's if you see it, you can reach it mentality that I think they really strike.
Yeah, and I think one of the cool things that I really like about this too is I spent a lot of time doing a lot of preview coverage for Odyssey and getting to talk to the development team about sort of recreating ancient Greece in a cool mythological way, but that was also still very historically accurate. Was a super cool challenge, and I think they've done it really, really well. Because the thing is, like with, you know, even Origins, which had previously been as far back as they had gone for ancient Egypt, like there was a lot that they had that was tangible in today's world to work with when designing those worlds. And with ancient Greece, you really have almost nothing.
You got the Parthenon,
right?
And
you've got like a few ruins of buildings that vaguely look the same as every other building. So I think the cool thing that they've done here is they've really found a way to take what we know about it. And, you know, they hired a fucking slew of historians to really, you know, take what we know about it currently and then really make each individual location unique, but also true to what it probably did really look like back then.
So this is coming out for most people today. I briefly got my hands on the PC build because we got code really late.
Fancy
so
you.
One thing I was able to test that I could tell the audience a little bit about is I tested it on a 1080 Ti and the new 2080 Ti graphics card. Everything maxed out, running at 4K 60. The 1080 Ti comes in around 40 FPS. So turn off the AA to get that. You don't need it at 4K really. Yeah. And on the 2080 Ti, it's hitting around 50. Again, I bet if you turned off AA, you could probably bump that up to a pure 60 at 4K 60. Yeah. The 2080 Ti card, very impressive. Not a lot of people have it. Yeah. Most high-end graphics cards are the 1080 Ti right now. It's pretty impressive. I'll probably be playing at 1080, so I'll probably be pushing above 60 frames, which will be great. And it looks gorgeous on PC. Yeah, so I just did benchmarking stuff, though, so that's all I can really speak to.
I did my review on a PS4 Pro because I usually play everything on my One X, but unfortunately that was the first code that I got, and I had to get started.
You just gotta.
Yeah, so I can say though that on both the One X, I went back and checked, and the PS4 Pro, the game is gorgeous. It's jaw-droppingly beautiful, and I actually fell in love with the photo mode, which is something I had dabbled in before but never really used. So actually right after we're done shooting Unlocked, I'm going to go pull all my photos and put them in a cool slideshow and just be like, check out my review, one picture at a time, you know? But it's gorgeous, and the lighting system in this game is fantastic.
Yeah.
And you had asked one thing that I wanted to touch on, Destin. You had asked, what does Odyssey and its ancient Greece setting have that Origins didn't?
Yeah.
And I think it's just sort of the ubiquity of the mythology of Greece, right? Like, it's the most mainstream sort of, I don't want to say pantheon, but it's the most mainstream sort of mythological culture. Hercules, Disney's Hercules, Kevin Sorbo's Hercules.
The definitive Hercules.
The definitive Hercules. Disappointed. Xena 300. You've got a million Clash of the Titans. You've got a million properties in mainstream culture.
One of our early looks had Medusa in it.
Yeah. And there are mythological elements to it, which I don't want to talk about because it could be a spoiler.
Yeah.
This part is so cool. When you're sinking a ship, you can actually dive down and collect the chests as they float.
Nice.
Pro tip.
And
What about the dead bodies?
Yeah, don't get attacked by sharks though.
What's funny is you can kill sharks with swords and axes underwater, and I'm just like, I don't think I could swing an axe hard enough to kill a shark.
Yeah.
Underwater.
Right? It would just be like,
Yeah.
It's okay. She's strong.
The shark's like, no, I'll wait.
Cassandra's just way stronger than you are.
She is.
So
She absolutely is. But yeah, I think that's what I was going with. People will be able to relate because they know Zeus, they know
Right.
Ares, they know Athena.
It's an easy world to
things-
kind of dive into.
And
right.
Literally.
So are there any specific new features you guys want to talk about that like really made this stand out, or new elements? Because I know like I'm of course going to bring this up, but like romance was a thing that kind of caught me by surprise because it's not something I'd really expect to see in Assassin's Creed. Was
You want to talk
that
about this,
at all?
Sure.
You
But,
can.
like that's just one of the things that I know. Like again,
Yeah.
I actually haven't played this yet. I only played some previews, and of course I'm just getting my hands on it like everyone else now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious.
There's a whole lot of
You can smooch a whole lot of.
There's a
you can
whole lot
smooch
of
a
love
whole
in
lot of
ancient
friends.
Greece.
Wow.
Well, so I mean, it's that notion of really taking the Assassin's Creed franchise and turning it into a tried and true RPG. You know, where you have a bunch of different endings and a bunch of really impactful choices that you can make throughout the game that will have branching effects depending on how you choose things. Or you can smooch folk if that's your game. And
Men or women, doesn't matter.
yeah, well, I think that's the nice thing too is like the idea of having you choose your character at the beginning won't affect your experience of the world.
Right.
So like, no matter who you choose, if you choose to play as Alexios, if you choose to play as Cassandra, the core experience of the story will stay almost exactly the same. And actually the ways that it differs, I think is actually pretty cool. But with that said, like you're not going to be burdened or run into any roadblocks based on the choice that you make for your character. Like if you want to run around and literally smooch everybody who you can smooch in the entire Greek world, it doesn't matter which character you've chosen.
A lot of smooching.
Everyone's going to smooch you. And you smooch all those boobs.
And there was a very sort of sexually liberal culture back then.
Oh, yeah.
And that comes across in the game. And not in a... There are some elements that are hokey, and I feel like we're put in there for the sake of being like... Man, those Greeks.
Yeah.
They sure,
sure.
They sure did love to love, didn't they?
Yeah.
But most of the time, it is totally not intrusive. You don't have. I mean, people will hit on you throughout the game, and you can just be like, "Look, ain't no one got time for that right now."
Yeah, like it's never more invasive than a dialogue option.
Yeah. You can, and they always have little hearts next to them, so
We're in the middle of a war zone. Now's not the time.
Hey,
Exactly.
I just need
see
to
that tree
feel
back there?
something.
You can never just like surprise kiss someone.
Yeah.
So with this being like potentially the best in the series, where do you guys go? What do you want to see Ubisoft to go next with this series? Like, do you want to see them expand their RPG? Or do you want to see them bring back a little bit more stealth focus? Or
I really like the direction they're going. And again, I do understand some people really, really love the old Assassin's Creed, platform that it was. And I use the term platform because it really did shift from a sort of stealth action game to a open world RPG. And I get that. I understand the DNA of Assassin's Creed is still in there. I mean, quite literally, but also, in the things that you do and sort of the themes that you tackle. But if you liked The Witcher, you're going to love Assassin's Creed Odyssey. If what you liked about it was huge rolling hills, I think they're going to continue on this. I mean, Odyssey had a roughly 3-year development cycle, which means it was being developed in parallel to Origins. So, Origins had less time to build on top of that platform than Odyssey did. I can only imagine the next Assassin's Creed built on this open world platform is already in development.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea. I mean, maybe feudal Japan would be cool or something like that. But
let me ask you about that. So since Assassin's Creed 1, people have wanted an Assassin's Creed experience like this set in feudal Japan. That's a location they've been talking about. Do you think they could make that work, or do you think that's just a totally different game?
No, I think they can make that work in the same way that Black Flag came out and they were like, you know what I would love? A pirate game that's Black Flag without all the Assassins versus Templar stuff in it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that might have been the sort of genesis of Skull and Bones, the pirate game that Ubisoft is still working on. I think that with this open world platform, Assassin's Creed as the brand is basically a way to send you anywhere you want to go. They don't have to make a story that is, okay, well, what is the motivation of a character in feudal Japan? It's, hey, Layla Hassan from, you know, Abstergo is needing to pick the brain of somebody who lives in feudal Japan.
Yeah.
We can go there. We already have our story set up. So it's actually kind of a perfect, you know, I know a lot of people are bemoaned to experience all that present day stuff, but it's the perfect vehicle to go anywhere you want to go without having to rewrite the game every single time. They can focus on fleshing it out, making it huge, making it varied without having to like introduce new characters and spend time making you learn to love them, you know?
Yeah,
I would love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be a super great setting and super, super interesting. Yeah, I think that'd be a really fun one. I think, weirdly enough, I think the like turn of colonial times Australia could be really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just because that's such a weird, horrible time in history.
Yeah,
country, but
like when it was still a prison colony, or
more so like the transition from A to B into that.
Got it.
I think there are some really interesting narrative possibilities there. But I think as far as what you were saying with the modern day stuff, like I personally, I'm one of those people who like if you never showed me a modern day part of an Assassin's Creed game again, I'd be fine with it. You know, Ubisoft could just say like, hey, we're just going to make big historic open world RPGs. Like this has nothing to do with Assassins or Templars. Like it's just a story that takes place in ancient Greece.
which is sort of what Odyssey is.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, you know, they have the framing, they have the franchise that will say, you know, it's part of this franchise. So it's got that sort of, you know, pedigree, that backbone to it. But I'd like to sort of see them step even further away from that than they already have.
There are elements of the Assassin's Creed story in there, you know, the Templars versus Assassins stuff. It's in there, but it is its own pillar. It's its own quest pillar. Has nothing to do with the main narrative of the characters that you're playing. So there are like three main pillars. There's the present tense one, the main story, and then the cult story pillar where, again, that ties into the main one and a little bit to the present one, but they're largely separated from each other. You can do one, you can do the other. Sometimes you'll have to stop one and dabble in the other before you can go back. But there's enough here where if you just want to play as a Greek mercenary, you know, in 431 BCE, you can do that and not have to worry about the present day stuff outside of like a couple 5-minute segments before you jump back in. So yeah, I think they've got a good thing on their hands here, and I'm hopeful that they continue to expand this and not, you know, try to recapture AC2.
Awesome. Well, can't wait to get into that.
Yeah,
but
good luck.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be
Enjoy those 8
lot.
hours.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
A lot to unpack.
But, you know, like all big games, it's got its fair share of problems, but it's mostly quality.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, let's shift our focus to a very cool historical point. Also a massive open world game that we've heard a lot about.
Which one is this?
The past month or so.
I don't think.
It's a little game called Red Dead Redemption 2 that we've talked to.
I'm unfamiliar. I don't know what that.
We spoke to a lot on the show, maybe.
Can't recall.
Remember if you want? We talked about horse girls last time when I was hosting.
Yeah, we did. We talked
the
about
last
horse girls
time
a
you guys
lot.
were talking about other
Yeah,
things.
you
when I
missed a good
wasn't
Oh,
here. But,
all right.
Oh yeah, you were on that episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be any worse than ancient Greece. So.
All right. Oh, anyway.
God.
So, John Ryan.
Yes.
Give us a slowdown. What's new this week in Red Dead Redemption?
So we got a chance to, you know, a couple weeks ago, a bunch of folks got a chance to play the game for a while. I think everyone got a couple of hours of the demo, but a nice handful of us, myself and Ryan, got to play through the first like 4 hours of the game.
Nice.
So cool.
Which was super rad. And it was something that was really great about it, kind of leaped out to me because, like, obviously, like Rockstar, one of the things that they do really well and that they've shown that they'll continue to do because they're adding so many new layers to their worlds, is to sort of do a really good job of pulling you into the game, not just from a narrative standpoint, even though they do that excellently, but also in the sense of like mechanically. So it's like good tutorials are hard to pull off because a lot of times it's just like, okay, I already know all this. I don't care anymore. Just
What do you mean right trigger to fire?
Right. But, you know, through the stuff that they're adding, so like the interaction systems and just a lot of the ways that the world works and sort of the open world behaves, which in and of itself is astounding. The way that they kind of draw you into that is really, really, really smartly done in those 4 hours. And, also, without giving anything away, because I know everyone's going to murder me if I spoil anything too badly for them. I was really, 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 really happy to see that a lot of what I had guessed about and a lot of the things that I like sort of suspected from all of the gameplay trailers and all the story trailers that we've seen so far was totally wrong.
Oh,
Cool.
vaguely tell me more so you don't spoil
Right.
things.
So there's no bank robber.
Or no.
You're not even a cowboy. It's actually it actually takes place.
You see those the shots before where they were robbing a bank? That was actually just a really aggressive transaction.
Yeah.
And not a robbery.
That's just how withdrawals worked in the Old West.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you know that?
Oh, it's just an aggressive.
No. So what I mean by that is there are a bunch
I
of
have to go to the
moments, when I was poring over all of the trailers to do a bunch of our rewinds and a bunch of analysis for it, where I sort of thought that they had done that kind of what I consider to sort of be a cardinal sin, at the very least for movies, and a lot of games are guilty of it these days too, where you fill your trailers with a lot of shots and content from the second and third acts of your stories, because they're often the most dramatic and the most cool looking, and they make for great trailer content. But I was really glad to see that in all 2 and 3 of the story trailers that we got, most of those moments where you see them kind of trudging through the snow and in the mountains. And I super expected, especially there were a few shots of them like in a cabin with Dutch trying to convince a very sparse number of people to sort of stay loyal to him.
You're like, that's got to be late game.
That's like the opening cinematic or something.
That's the first 4 hours.
Awesome.
Which is super, super cool. And again, that's not super spoilery. There's a lot more to it than that.
No, I mean, I think that's nice.
Poor
to know,
horse
like,
in this shot if you're watching the video.
Oh,
Sorry.
I know, right?
Oh no! Just like having those set piece moments, you worry that they are revealing too much early on. So it is good to know that's like those are things that we're going to experience early on instead, and the rest of the game is a massive mystery.
And so that's the thing too, where it's like because Red Dead 2 is a prequel to the first one, like we know what happens to Dutch.
Yeah.
We know what happens to John. We know what happens to Bill and Javier. What we don't know is how we got to that first shot of Red Dead 1.
Yes.
And, I don't think that I think the overall narrative beats will probably still be a lot of what I'm expecting. So like, the sort of start of the fracture and the dissolution of the Vanderlyn gang and eventually Dutch kind of going crazy like John was talking about in the first game, and like how that sort of fell out and who picked sides, and sort of individual factions taking up inside the gang. I think we're still going to see that, but I'm just really, really happy to see that I was wrong in what that looks like, because now I have no idea of what to expect when I actually finally get my hands on the game to see what the second and third acts of the game looks like.
On its looks, it's absolutely stunning. I can't believe this is a console game.
I know, right?
I was watching this trailer. He was walking through the streets, and I'm like, "There's no way."
So
Yeah.
I see these things.
The detail on the guns and
Yeah.
everything.
I'm just like, this is it. Like we're hitting the end of the generation. Like that's.
Yeah.
I think this is the mark, right?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of the thing that Rockstar always does.
yeah,
Where it's like,
that's what we felt. I felt exactly the same way at GTA 5. Just,
Yep.
Excuse me, like, this is a game for my console,
Right.
And then
Yeah. And that was 360.
yeah.
And then guess what? Here it is again, looking even better.
Yeah.
I think the craziest thing about, from a graphics perspective, is there's a shot in this second gameplay video that dropped yesterday, Monday, if you're watching this on Wednesday or later, I guess, where Arthur's sort of up in the mountains and looking down over a valley, and there's these big rolling clouds behind him, and all of those clouds are volumetrically rendered. Those are all real, like during our extended demo. So like the first chunk of the game takes place up in the mountains. There's the job that they've alluded to in Blackwater and trailers before, where things have kind of gone bad. So the gang's on the run from the law and they're hiding out in the mountains. And there are shots of it where you're up above the cloud, and it's not just objects that are clouds moving from side to side in the skybox. Like you loaded it and then Ryan was playing, and not to, make fun of him while he's not here, but he got killed. He fell off a cliff and died.
I don't believe that for 1 minute.
But when he reloaded that moment, those are the clouds right there. Those ones I was talking about. Everything was completely different, and they were blowing and moving in completely natural ways. And like you would watch them like move around the mountains, and like as we would ride up through them, like they would move around us. It's just stupidly pretty.
Hugh boy, that is pretty.
Like look,
I
look
love
at
the
that.
shadows that they cast too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So
Left,
it's like
the
as
rays of the sun coming through
exactly
the clouds.
like as you're
incredible.
running around down in the valley, like you'll see the shadows of clouds going overhead.
I do appreciate some good clouds.
Right.
It's nice.
That one kind of looks like
it's not just that though. It's like the draw distance and like how the light's hitting the water on the left.
Yeah.
Out there, it's all happening. Like
if
you
you're
see all that.
If you're listening to the audio version of this, the next chance you get, check out this
just go.
this gameplay trailer. It is
if you haven't already.
Trying to describe it with my words.
Yeah, paint us a word picture.
They look really fluffy. I want to lay in them.
Someone's on public transit listening on like their iPhone, and they're just like, I don't know what's that like.
It's a beautiful day in
what are
The
you
Mental
ice
talking
cream
about?
cones there on the right.
Yeah.
Like those look just great. They're drifting.
Yeah, and you see that spaceship out there. You
Yeah.
know, I always knew that
I was
these
just
were
gonna
tied
say.
in some weird way.
But yeah, so I mean, clouds, the beauty of clouds aside, you can go watch more on Bob Ross for the beauty of clouds. But the beauty of clouds aside, like seeing sort of how this game moves into it, like starts and moves into itself and kind of draws you into the story and the new mechanics and just like I don't want to say in a lot of cases like it's a brave new world or a brand new world for games, but like in this case it is. Like the intricacy of the open world that they've built, it's unlike anything that I think I've really run into yet. Like, there are just so many moments you can read. We've got a piece up on IGN called 79 Amazing Details from Our Time with Red Dead Redemption. And that was literally just from like 5 or 6 of us playing the game for like an hour or two. And just the different stuff that we learned and gleaned and experienced while we were out in those worlds. It was crazy. And what I really loved about the first, 2 to 3 to 4 hours is that it really sets up that this is a very differently paced game from Rockstar than what we came to kind of be familiar with GTA, and even a little bit from the original Red Dead too.
It's faster or
It's
slower?
a lot slower.
Slower.
And I like that. I know there are some people who are like, well, I don't know how Red Dead's going to do as a slower paced game for them kids, but like,
Yeah, but you'll be in the wilderness and a thing will happen that
exactly
draws
and
your attention.
It's all about
I think that makes sense too, just with the setting. Like, just
Yeah.
look at it. Like, obviously, the pacing of that life versus like GTA,
Right.
obviously, it's going to be different. I think it has to be effective.
yeah. It's it's that notion of in GTA you can move through the world at 120 miles an hour down a freeway. In this, you're the fastest you can go really is probably about 20 miles an hour on a horse.
Oh, so you're talking literally slower?
Well, no,
because I'm talking like
broad,
story pacing.
In broad strokes, I mean that. In sort of like the concept of how you view the worlds of either game. But I mean, in terms of story, in those first 4 hours, like it is a game that wants you to take your time getting to know the world, getting to know the people in it. And, whether that's the main characters in the narrative or if that's just the NPCs who you choose to, talk to and get to know better. Because you can literally just be like, hey, partner,
How was
how
your
are you
day?
today? Yeah. Or
you can just give them the business end of a shotgun.
Right.
Just
or you can
watching
just
this
emotionally abuse them,
Aggressive
too. Yeah.
transactions.
aggressive transaction.
One of my favorite things about this this trailer is that they show us that we can boo at the theater, which is just the pettiest thing, but I love it.
We finally got to look at first person mode also. And I actually really, really liked it. Hearing you guys talk about it on the last Unlocked was interesting. But I mean, you guys, Tina was there. So
Tina and Ryan talking about
Different
it.
group.
Tina is us. Tina is all.
Will be
getting to see it in
fuel.
person, though, I think it's going to be tempting to actually play the game in that manner, which
Yeah.
I didn't expect. I'm like, no way, I'm going to play third person. But I'm like, oh, I could see how that would really immerse you in every moment.
That's what I was telling Tina. I was like, this sounds like a game where I put it on very limited HUD, first person, and just go walking into the woods.
I think that's a thing I like to do after I finished everything.
Yep.
Like, I'm just trusting my senses to find where I want to go next and just explore and kind of like exist in that world.
Yeah.
And I think having that ability is just such a freeing idea. Because I know I'm just gonna like live in Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, that's just gonna be a thing for the rest of the year.
That's what I'm worried about is
I'm also worried about it.
because it's so detailed and so massive that I don't want to use, and maybe it's just because I'm coming off Assassin's Creed Odyssey and then before that Spider-Man, I don't want to just start chasing down waypoints. You know, I don't want to pull up a checklist and just be like,
Yeah.
well, got to go rustle some ponies, got to go kill a snake, got to go do other cowboy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to ride from point A to point B. And I think putting it in first person mode and just being like, oh, I got to go to Carson City or whatever. I think it's west. Let's head over there.
Yeah, try to use the sky to navigate or something.
the
I don't
stars.
know. Like that's
I mean,
cool
you're
too.
just
Like
like,
just having that extra challenge and that immersion is just such a fun way to explore a
Yeah.
game, especially like this when it's so big and
Yeah.
detailed.
Yeah.
As we're saying about the clouds and everything else, I'm sure is just like incredible. So I
it's
think
like-
that'll be a good adventure to try,
Oh, yeah.
especially as if you have time. I think the hard part with our jobs is that we do have to play more than just the few
Yeah.
games that we want to.
I mean, that's my biggest dread is that,
Yeah,
I'm going
exactly.
to have to kind of, I'll get a copy of it, I'll cry a little bit, and then I'll just like have to smash through it as fast as
like,
I
sorry,
can.
we do have to follow those waypoints.
Right.
get through
You
it,
understand
but-
this especially well as well because like we're both in the wikis team, so when it does come out, you can 100% come to IGN.com for all your game help needs.
Yes, please.
Assassin's Creed and Red Dead. But yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to being finished with that as well and just kind of wandering out into the world. Because I mean, like, even just in the 45 minutes to an hour of exploring the open world and not doing mission and story content that we did, and even then, like just like the regular missions all had these like branching side moments, and they were just totally emergent. Where like we'd be going through town and like we'd stop the cart and hitch our horses, and then like go into a shop, and we'd just be in there for hours looking
There's
at
a
cheese.
snake in my boot.
Yeah.
Those are the watercolor moments I'm really looking forward to hearing about, especially like online and seeing from our community and everyone seeing what I don't know they're experiencing, and every time it's going to be different because every perspective is going to be different. Like when you see it, like what you have on you, and I don't know. It's like, did you find it with the horse, or did you just walk up and find it? And there's just a lot of potential for Red Dead. Obviously, we've talked it to death, and we will continue to until it comes out. And then after, we're going to talk about it more.
Yep.
So I hope you like Red Dead Redemption 2.
I do.
Or at
I
least
really do.
Interested. So
I'm in.
I'm
Yeah.
interested.
Their possums play possum. I'm super in.
Excuse me.
So
I know about this, but I'm just like,
it's just one of those moments where like you're out in the world and you find a dead animal and you see another dead animal, but then you go to that second dead animal and it gets up and hisses at you because it saw you coming and then did the thing that it's supposed to do and played dead. It's crazy.
that is crazy.
Anyways, yeah, it's super
Animals
cool.
being animals, man.
Animals being animals,
I like animals.
right?
Okay. Well, I don't have a good transition for this because animals don't relate to this at all. But
I
get to the news.
absolutely disagree.
Mouse.
mouse?
Oh, you're on the
no,
other one.
not that one. We're
Okay.
still at the front. Anyway.
Oh God, yeah, we haven't even touched any of our news.
Yeah,
stories.
we've got a lot of
we're
news
a
to
third of
talk
the way through
about,
this
so
page.
we're gonna
Let's get down to business.
we're gonna hustle a little bit. Get those ratings ready. Okay, so we want to talk about XO18, which was announced last week. We didn't have a chance to cover it, so we're like, all right, great unlocked topic. So what this is
Oh,
going to be?
we covered it. There's a news story up.
Yeah,
It
but like
was
in
announced during-
detail,
Oh,
full
yeah.
combos, like the treatment.
The car wash.
Yeah. Anyway, so we wanted to talk about it. It is going to piggyback on the back of the 4th annual Fan Fest in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be on November 10th. Just for context, the last XO event that I was able to find was in 2003. Destin said that there was another one
I don't know
potentially.
if that was the
anyway.
X event, but I think Mass Effect had a reveal of some sort at an X event, but
Right.
don't quote me on that. I
So-
didn't have time to look it up.
Either way, it's been a very long
Yeah.
time and since Microsoft has done this kind of event.
Yeah, I've never heard of it before this.
Yeah.
ever. I
Yeah.
literally walked into this room. I was like, "What's that?"
I have vague memories of it, but I can't remember. Like it's been so long that I can't remember the last one.
Yeah, if the last one was in 2003, I was an actual child. So anyway,
The one in France was a Microsoft event, though, the XO3.
that was part of Microsoft. So there they showed Ninja Gaiden, Halo 2. It was just less than a year of like Xbox Live having gone live. So like they were still making a bunch of improvements and updates, and like I think it was just then releasing in Europe and then kind of going into that. So it was a pretty big deal back then.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for the potential of what this could be this year. I could see it as being a lot of potential system updates and like going into like where they wanted to do next with Xbox.
There's been teases, though, that it's going to be bigger.
Yeah. So
Right?
they,
Like big
Phil Spencer
big
was
substantial announcements.
Phil Spencer was saying that they want to talk about like their great stuff from their first party and third party partners, and I think that obviously opens the door to a lot of things. John Ryan was talking about Gears Funko.
I wasn't going to say anything because I knew you'd murder me with your eyes, but yeah, I fully expect to see a lot of Gears Funko there. Those adorable little Marcuses.
Yeah, so this will be live streamed as an Inside Xbox episode. So that's really exciting. I'm also just like excited it's gonna be in Mexico City. I love them doing cool fan events like around the world, like as much as
outside the bubble of San Francisco, LA, and New York,
or Europe or something, or like I guess in like London or something. Getting out of the usual spots.
It's a bunch of not just a bunch of random white people cities. I'm into it.
Yeah, so it's just like kind of celebrating the community as a whole, because like obviously it goes far more than where we're at.
Yeah,
and so it's just exciting to see them doing it somewhere else.
Yeah, it's cool. Just off the top of my head, I guess what reveals or announcements do you guys anticipate there?
We already said. Well, Gears Funko.
Just that.
Funko, yeah.
It's going to be 2 days of Gears Funko.
Thinking about it a little more in depth than that.
No.
I would just so much Funko.
Sorry.
I imagine we're probably going to get a look at Crackdown 3. That game comes out in spring of 2019. This is really the last
February.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. God, February 22nd, the day that all the video games come out.
Yep, the day that wikis will once again explode.
Yes.
This is really our our last kind of opportunity to see that outside of preview stuff that usually 6 to 8 to 10 weeks before a game comes out they do one last preview.
Yep.
Big push. But I imagine we're going to see Crackdown 3. I imagine we might finally get that rumored Xbox Elite 2 controller announced, because rumors are coming out that it exists a couple weeks ago.
I hope it's called the Elite-er.
Elite-er?
Yeah.
Elite-est.
That's the third one.
More elite.
Yeah.
There a couple weeks ago or a month ago, there was a rumor coming out that it does exist and it was going to be announced on, I think, an episode of Inside Xbox. That ended up not coming to pass.
Got a shiny new
I think
White Elite controller instead.
Well, sort of. It's bundled with that. I think it was the Fallout 70. Fallout 76. Yeah.
But it was announced, and that was a thing that happened. But
the white one?
Yeah, the rumors about there being another one made me hold off on pre-ordering it because I really wanted it. I was just like, all right, I got a lot to play. I want to invest in this, but I'm also just kind of the hesitant. It's like, do I make a leap?
I mean, it's not its price point is prohibitive. It's I think $150.
Yeah, it's an investment. So it's just like because those rumors. Just gonna wait a second.
Yeah, so I think we might
at least until November 10th.
I think it's possible we get an announcement at XO18. Outside of that,
I have 2 questions.
I'm really hoping to see some at least like a brief teaser of one of their internal.
Gears.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
Gears 5.
Battletoads.
I imagine we'll get some Gears 5. We might see a Battletoads.
You may see a Battletoad.
Yeah, we
just
might
one.
We might see Battletoads.
Do you think we'll see anything additional about Halo Infinite? Like, what are the chances of that? 50%, 60%? And do you think we'll see anything from the Forza team and whatever their open world game is?
Playground?
Playground, yeah.
No, I don't think we'll see anything from Playground. I think we might get
Not even a teaser?
I think they might hold that for like E3
it's too soon.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like Horizon 4 just came out.
Well, they're still hiring. They're still hiring for people to work on whatever this is going to be. I think Halo Infinite is much more realistic.
That would be.
I can't give you I don't think it's going to be a reveal. I think it'll be here's the chief or something like a teaser. Having said that, I was wrong
UI?
for 2 years in a row at E3, so I don't know.
I think the most realistic is that we are going to get a lot of Gears because we are, again, getting 3 Gears of War games.
Yep.
So we're going to have Gears Funko, which I think this is kind of the perfect event to talk more about that just because we didn't really get much context for what that is aside from it being, I think, a Funko game. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And so getting a little bit more into that.
I feel like it's going to be kind of like, not mirror, but like be reminiscent of like a Lego game almost, but like sort of like a cartoony, actiony, maybe some platforming, or I'm really curious what a Funko chainsaw looks like. Like how that works.
I think that they exist because they have, I think, the Gears Funko already.
Right. But I'm curious like what that looks like in terms of game mechanics.
Oh, for sure.
Like, is it just little plastic bits that come out, or
do
they just not do that?
Well, I don't see Funko being very violent.
Right.
But this is very violent.
But it's Gears. Like that's
cartoon violence. Get that Tom and Jerry stuff going.
Oh, what if they just replace your Lancer with like a giant frying pan? I'd be super into that. Or like at least it just says Acme
John,
on
you're
the side.
hurting me.
Yeah.
Actively hurting me. I really want to see more from Gears Tactics.
Yep. Yeah.
Just because like we saw little bits of that, and I want full on gameplay. Like give me a full on tactics match or something. I don't know how you want to display that. I don't know what the timeline is for that either. So I just want to see more of that. Kind of going back to Crackdown a little bit, I think this is kind of a really important moment for them to show them that that game is on track.
That's a good point.
Like I need to see something there, or else I'm just gonna.
If you don't fly
put it in
Terry
the
Crews
closet
to Mexico
and
City,
not think about it.
Well, I mean,
they've
that's the
been
thing,
really, really quiet.
Yeah,
Like I love Terry
People
Crews,
consider
but I feel like touting another Terry Crews trailer is not the way to go about this.
You're
When was the
you're-
last time that we actually saw gameplay?
You're 100% right. They need
E3 last year.
yeah,
they
2016, right? Or 2017. Sorry,
17,
I forgot what year it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
what happens.
Yeah, I have no idea what time and space is at all. But I mean, the last time we saw that was the multiplayer like destruction gameplay, right? And then they announced that they were totally rebuilding that. So
No, that was 16, right? Wait, did
Well,
you
no,
did
there-
you
there-
play it?
I did.
here's the problem.
There was like a mode where you could just go out and try and get more
Yeah.
destructive points than other people.
Yeah.
And that was at E3
3 years ago.
1 year ago.
Is it the year
right?
then when you
No.
played it? No.
2 years ago?
2 years ago was the single player stuff that we played.
Okay.
Okay.
3 years ago was the
Yeah.
multiplayer
all
stuff.
right, so that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of then. Sorry, I forgot about the last
So
year.
here's the
Fine,
problem: is
fine.
that we
Time
can't
to
even
flat
get it
circle.
straight
Right.
because like we just need the solid presentation of what Crackdown is now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully we get that.
We need that big, beautiful gameplay trailer.
Yeah. So anything else y'all want to see? XO18.
Yeah, but we should probably keep moving.
I know we're like running short on time, so yeah. So let us know what you guys want to see.
And that
I
is
just wanna
November
see
10th, correct?
Yeah, I think yes, November 10th. That will be
Next
live
month.
streamed as an Inside Xbox episode.
Cool.
So next up for news, we have new avatars on the way this month. Finally,
Finally.
After how many years? All of them.
it's been many years.
They look super cool.
Lots of options.
We have a video. They released a video on. I'm sorry, my brain is not working. They released a video on the Inside Xbox stream that we put up on IGN, so you can go check that out right now if you want. They look really cool and they're super inclusive. Whatever it seems like whatever you want to represent yourself as, there's an options close to it.
Yeah, and the quote board we got said that it's been based, of course, on feedback from the last 10 years, which is really important. I mean, this is a feature for us, so it's like really great that they are collecting everything and internalizing everything and now putting it out. We got some little notes here. A photo booth will be available to take photos of your avatar with an adjustable camera to tilt, zoom, and rotate. Customized background prints will be available as well to be part of your photo, which is pretty cool. So there's collaborations with Halo, Gears of War, and other games, which is perfect because it's kind of what I'd expect. I remember, I think my avatar may still be dressed as Lara Croft from way back when.
Fun.
So it's been a long time since I've really tweaked these. And it's kind of nice to have an excuse to go back and mess with them again.
My guy still has the
Fun bits.
Mass Effect 3 Omniblade.
Aw. I remember
My-
saying that I wanted it.
Yeah.
My guy is dressed up in a werewolf costume and has been for like 8 years because my gamer tag is I am not a monster, and I thought
yeah.
that was really funny.
Hey,
Wow,
it is.
werewolf.
That's funny.
I appreciate that.
There's a game called I'm Not a Monster coming out.
Really?
I got a PR email about it.
Cool.
I meant to send it to you, but I forgot.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, next in the news,
You waiting for that royalty check?
Right?
a
This
big
one's
thing.
really interesting.
Yeah, so mouse and keyboard support is finally coming for sure to Xbox this month. Phil said, if you're a dominant FPS player right now on controller and you're worried that all of a sudden you're going to get swamped because a bunch of mouse and keyboard players are going to get flooded into your game, that's not what we're doing. So that's really important because obviously there is the advantage there of like how reaction times work
Precision
with,
and yeah.
yeah. And so I'm really curious to see what they're doing with this because it's
Yeah.
essentially just going into the developer's hands saying, hey devs, you can add mouse and keyboard support if you want. Cool.
Yeah.
Game-
It's like,
Yeah.
that's just really nice to have the option. We were talking a little bit beforehand about it not being like a crazy change because ultimately this is going to be for games that will still function with controller because like that, you know, as a console, that's what it has to be. And I don't imagine them
Yeah.
adding like League of Legends or something on here, which I've seen like floating around a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Just because like that, you can't play that with a controller because of like how technically difficult it is unless they brought instead like Arena of Valor or something, which is kind of like League of Legends.
Yeah, or
Anyway,
think
it
like
goes down the pipe.
Halo Wars
But-
2 or something like that. Like
Yeah.
things that would benefit from, that kind of precision that's already available on the
Yes.
controller.
I could definitely see PUBG and the huge game Fortnite.
That one game.
Yeah, adding support for this, or at least an option, especially in Fortnite because you can actually queue in with PC players.
Yeah.
and it would
Yeah.
be good not to be at that disadvantage.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that's just a great option and would be nice for those people.
I mean, I think that raises the question, though, like, will we see developers having to essentially develop 2 control modes for their multiplayer games? Not necessarily do control modes, because they'll already have that with the keyboard support, but also
servers, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, but creating servers specifically just for players who are playing actively with a mouse and keyboard on Xbox.
Yeah, there's definitely the technical aspect of it, but I don't think I have enough insight to say whether or not how difficult that is.
Yeah.
I don't foresee it being a huge problem because you can already use a Zim device right now and plug in a keyboard. This
That's
actually
considered cheating, though.
it is considered cheating. But
Don't do it, kids.
this
Don't cheat.
stay in controller school. This gives you this gives developers the option to actually just detect what inputs you're using and then allow you to filter based on what peripherals you're using for the game. So
Destiny 2 on PC does a fantastic job of catering to both controller users and keyboard and mouse users, and they all play in the same sandbox. One of the people on Fireteam Chat, CJ, plays only on controller, and some of the people that I play with regularly, and they can hold their own against most keyboard and mouse players. So it's all about the tuning and making sure you get it right. And if you get it really, really close to perfect, you can have a really, really fun multiplayer sandbox.
Yeah, and if not, then you just put in a filter option and keep them separate.
Yep. Yeah,
but equal.
it's up to the developer.
Don't say it like
as
that.
Phil said.
What's that?
It's up to the developer. Whatever the
Phil.
Phil said that it's up to the developer. So whatever they choose to give their audience as an option, will be there.
Oh man, what if it was just like a really horrible one-sided death match where they're just gonna be like, ha 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 ha, now you have to do it.
That would be kind of like
Sorry,
bragging
everyone.
rights, right?
Right. Like the equivalent of like feeding people to lions.
Yeah.
Where it's just like you put one controller guy in a match with like 14 PC players.
No thanks. So we have
Anyways.
more news. Very recently, Harry Potter RPG footage was leaked. My notes got cut off on here. But yeah, I can't credit
Play
the
as
user
a
'cause-
Harry Potter?
Play as a Harry.
Yeah, so this got printed before I got finished with my notes. But it's supposed to be allegedly set in the 1800s, so before Dumbledore was born, because he was born in 1881.
Good. I don't want that nerd in my game.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I guess, potentially not
Prequel.
canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what the description I believe was that you're transferring in as a 5th year, so you kind of have all the basics already learned, which makes a lot of sense because it'd be weird to play as like a 12-year-old or like 11-year-old.
Yeah, that'd be
Kind
tough.
of having
Like
to learn the very
4
beginnings
years of
school.
tutorial magic.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
sorry.
Hello, more.
That would be kind of a cute montage, though.
Axio,
Like,
Axio,
oh, I'm
Axio,
learning, oh, I'm
Axio.
going. And then you grow up. So it's going to be somewhere around there. Like the footage
Cool.
seemed pretty cool. I think a lot of it's been taken down and is mostly in GIF form right now. But I guess we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
The way this was leaked was because of allegedly a mall survey. Some guy went in and took footage of this at a mall. And he didn't sign the NDA. Again, like this is what the person posted and said that they had done.
Just
Didn't
left
sign the
without
NDA
filling
and
out
just
the
left.
paperwork.
Yeah, and so
I mean, technically not illegal.
Yeah.
yeah, I guess he just didn't check in.
Somebody
so.
got fired for that.
I
for
find
sure.
that there was a breakdown of security structure somewhere there.
Yeah.
Why was it at a mall?
It's
weird.
It's focus group, focus testing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
is this something you would want
do it
to
at
see?
malls.
Yes.
Oh,
they
yeah.
will describe
Have you
it
never
like,
been to a
"Hey,
mall?"
Do you want to take a survey real quick for us? Like,
Yeah.
it's about this.
I feel like every time I'm in a mall, somebody comes up and is like, "Hey, do you go to the movies a whole lot? Do you want to take this survey? Do you want to do this product test?"
Do you
I'm
have any
like,
thoughts
no.
on pretzels?
Yeah, I remember doing that once when I was a little kid. Like, we were hanging out at the mall with my friends, and I was like 13, 14.
Yeah.
And someone was like, hey, we'll give you $10 if you take the survey. But you have to go to this back room, and we're like, this sounds like a really bad
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah,
I'm
that sounds
not sure
real
that's
weird.
legal.
And then we did it.
And then you, but hey,
And then
did
I
you
got
get your $10?
$10.
Perfect,
Yeah.
great. I
And
hope you spend it
so-
immediately.
Setting a real
Yeah,
bad
these-
example for the
these
children
things
out there.
Spam for the
Don't
rest
do
of your
that.
life.
Yep.
No,
A,
and then
don't
we
accept
got-
money from
nowadays-
strangers. B,
It's
don't
like
follow them into back
Yeah.
rooms.
Yeah, so it was okay.
Anyway,
Anyway.
I think
Don't
this
do
is
what Miranda
really.
did, though.
Happen. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan on earth, but I think that this is something that I would totally get into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really curious to see.
kids, you want to take a survey?
Okay, that's enough. No.
Anyway, so if you guys are more on like
Canceled.
more just in like a deep dive of this Harry Potter thing, definitely check out Beyond because they're doing a very intense deep dive on this.
Them boys love Harry Potter.
Yeah, I adore
they do.
Harry Potter, but we're gonna let them take it over. Also, because we're running out of time.
Yep.
We just got the
We got the wrap it up box.
So I guess we're just gonna mention that Minecraft Dungeons was announced. It was announced for PC.
Yeah, it's it's sort of a dungeon crawling experience set in the Minecraft universe. You and up to 4 friends can cooperatively, dungeon dive and fight monsters and get loot. And
Cool.
It looks real cool. I was surprised when I saw the announcement during Minecon 2018. But that trailer is up if you haven't seen it. It is the first time I've thought about going back to Minecraft in a while. So check it out.
So party of 4.
Okay.
Go explore some dungeons.
Yeah.
Right now it's only announced for PC.
Yep.
I would
Coming.
assume it'll come to Xbox at some point.
I imagine so. Mojang is owned by Microsoft. PC in 2019.
Yeah. So since we got to rush through things,
Yep,
let's go ahead and
just
head over to the Marketplace report.
Cool.
wanna do?
Games with gold this month are Hitman Blood Money on Xbox 360.
Nice.
Overcooked starting October 1st on Xbox One.
It's available now.
Available now.
today.
Oh God, that's right.
yesterday.
Yeah, it's October already. Happy Halloween month.
Congratulations. It's officially Halloween.
On October 16th, you can pick up Victor Vran for Xbox One. It's a sort of isometric hack and slash game about a monster hunter. Cool. I think kind of Van Helsing-like, but it's voiced by the guy who voices Geralt. So that's cool.
Great.
And then Stuntman Ignition is available on October 1st on the Xbox 360.
You should totally get it and play it because that game is stupidly fun.
Games out this week. There's not too many of them because they're all massive. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you can pick up today alongside Mega Man 11, which is also out today. You probably know what both those games are. There's a game called Gnome's Garden coming out on Wednesday, October 3rd. Head out with gnomes on a journey in this fantasy strategy game. Construct buildings and manage resources and all that jazz. You can pick up Armored Freedom on Friday, October 5th. It's an intense strategy board game where giant robots fight for dominance. And then wrapping up this week, available Friday, October 5th as well, is WWE 2K19 Deluxe Edition.
Ooh.
You want to get some wrestling?
I do. I do want some wrestling.
Sweet.
Forza Horizon 4's out.
It is. Was that last week?
That was last week, yeah.
Pretty sure it was last week.
But it's still out and
It says-
available.
Real good.
It says initial release was October 2nd.
It was the deluxe edition that
Yes.
was available last week. So
And technically, that's how it
standard-
is with Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
too,
Yes.
where
I don't like it when they do that.
yeah,
yeah,
so
so,
it's like, let's
It
clarify.
makes our lives a lot harder.
The Assassin's Creed
Yes.
Odyssey Deluxe
rest-
Edition is out today. You can play it. The standard edition is out October 5th, which is Friday. So,
Hooray.
you can either play it now for more money or wait until Friday for less money. Up to you.
And don't forget, either way, whenever you pick it up, head over to IGN to check out our wikis for all your game help needs for it.
And
Yes,
if you
please.
if you don't know whether you're going to pick it up or not, check out the review. It's live on the site. It is 2,300 words of detail, and we made an 8-minute video review, which is
a very long video
the
review.
longest one we've ever done, or I've ever done. We might have done longer so far,
Congratulations.
but it's over. It's done.
Proud
And here's the great thing: after 60 hours, I'm still playing it. So
Cool.
That's awesome. I think that's always a good sign whenever you get done with a review and then you go back and play your game more.
A good value.
Very good.
good value.
So finally, we have the unlock block trivia, which we're
just gonna
supposed to skip.
You're just like, what's in my pocket
if we're
right
doing-
now?
We're doing the alternate universe version where I do get to give points. All of our collective points are now going to Alana,
Okay.
just for 10 points.
You know she doesn't work here
10
anymore,
points.
right?
No, I know.
Ah, I have like
This was-
no
This
points.
was a special request. No, you keep your points.
I have no idea what's going on.
But the points we could have potentially earned today with the bonuses I had planned would have been a total 10 points that are now all going to Alana. So,
Well, tune in
glad-
next
so
week.
keep for the
When none of
off
that
the books
counts.
version.
Yeah. Tune in next week when none of that counts, and then we'll do more trivia.
Yeah.
Are you angry, Brandon, for catching up?
Somebody tweeted was like,
Oh, good.
unfortunately Brandon took the lead. And I'm like, unfortunate for who? It's pretty fortunate for me. I'm
No,
happy.
it's
Yay
good.
me.
Yeah.
So
I felt
our
good.
off the books unlock block trivia. Alana has now gained 10 points. She is 9 points ahead of Brandon Tyrell.
It's not true.
Off the books. Anyway,
Congratulations,
that's all we got
Alana.
today.
I
Thank you
worked
guys
hard
so
going
much for
on with
joining.
this crap.
You got anything to promote?
Wikis. We
Just
got a
kidding.
bunch of great
John,
game help
sorry.
guides coming out. I'm sorry. You were staring at me. I'm so
No,
sorry.
no,
Go
no,
ahead,
no.
please, Destin.
No, I mean, I don't really have anything to promote, to be honest. Just I've been doing a lot of benchmarks with the new graphics card. So I've been working on that.
And if you got it, you got to use it.
And then we're getting footage coming back next week of a game we're excited about.
You said bench,
Cool, great.
You said benchmarks. I thought you were going to say
games.
bench press. You're just like, I'm just promoting these sweet guns.
It's 270.
I'm so tired. It's 270.
And then John.
Wikis, just all of the wikis. No matter what you're playing this fall, IGN has you covered for game help. We've got Assassin's Creed Odyssey. We'll have all the cool, weird, little difficult collectibles. We've got Forza Horizon, which will have all of the cool car stuff that you need to unlock to upgrade and make your rides a lot cooler and better. Spider-Man, if you're still playing Spider-Man, cool, not a Xbox game, I get it. It's heathen territory, but you want to find all those backpacks.
Get
wherever
out.
they are. And then, of course, once Red Dead 2 comes out, we'll have all of the hidden secrets and cheats and all the good get you through that game stuff you could possibly want. So,
Sweet.
wikis.
Also, JR and Mark Medina did, friend of the show, did a really cool Spartan kick montage for AC Odyssey that
Yes.
I
Kicked a lot of
chuckled
people.
at heartily when I watched. So go check
Wow.
that out.
Yep.
For me, I cheated. I already promoted. Go check out that Assassin's Creed Odyssey review if you haven't yet and you're interested. Outside of that, I fell in love with the photo mode, so I'm going to put together that slideshow of all my photos and put that up probably this afternoon. So
Nice.
you can check that out too. And then on to the next one.
Very good.
What are you up to?
Wikis.
Woo!
Please read our wikis. That'd be great. Thank you. And also, of course, let us know if there's something you're having trouble with and that you haven't been able to find.
Yep, you can
tweet
reach us. Tweet us.
at IGN Wikis.
Yeah, right there.
Easy
Go
peasy.
ahead and do it.
All right, we have gone on for far too long. So thank you so much for joining us for this episode. For Dustin, John, and Brandon, I'm Rita Sanchez. Thank you. See you next week.
Bye, everybody.